biggest dreams. Their scrapbooking parties became tradition at the end of August. Armed with stacks of photos they'd each taken, they overtook Meghan's kitchen table for an entire weekend and relived the high and low points the previous months had brought. Childhood dreams radiated from the pages in her hand, dreams that weren't likely to come true now. Still, Suzanne carried a sliver of hope in her pocket. It had been 8 months since she'd seen her friends. She'd send the scrapbook to Jane, who would stash it in the bottom of her suitcase and bring with her when she arrived in Sweethaven at the beginning of June. Suzanne knew she needed to be truthful in this entry, her last entry, the one that explained why she wasn't coming back, why she had to stay hidden, why her parents had all but locked her in her bedroom, making up excuses as to her whereabouts. Like Quasimodo in the bell tower, Suzanne was an outcast, and even God couldn't really love an outcast. But after 8 months, she hoped, she prayed, that her friends could. At least one of them. She knew she could make it if she had just one true friend. Suzanne scanned her paints until she found a small bottle of hazy blue and held it in her hand. She flipped through a few sheets of paper and settled on 5 different patterns, then cut them into small blocks and glued them to the blank page. Once the squares were in place, she diluted her paint with a few drops of water and began brushing a thin coat over the paper so the pattern showed through. If only she could swipe such a hazy covering over her secrets. She stood and walked across the room, then positioned herself in front of the oversized full-length mirror. She held her awkward Polaroid camera mid-air in hopes of capturing her own reflection. Snap. Whir. The camera spit the shiny wet photo from the thin slot at its bottom and into her hand. She shook it back and forth until finally the image appeared. She stared at the girl in the photo. 17 years old. So much hope. Such big dreams. Dreams of being a real artist. Dreams of galleries and classes, and a love story she could tell to curly-headed grandchildren. Her sense of entitlement to wish for such things had dwindled. The path before her, a path she'd created, didn't give her the right to happy dreams and girlish wishes. Using double-stick tape, she adhered the photo to the pages she'd just painted. Beside it, she pressed down a solid-colored square, then used a fine-tipped black marker to write her thoughts. For obvious reasons, my parents are forbidding me to come back to Sweethaven this summer. The way they're talking, I may never be allowed to come back, or leave my room. It's okay because I turn 18 in a few months, and then they can't keep me locked in the house anymore. I've embarrassed them. I've shamed them. I've let you all down. I might not be able to keep going with the scrapbook, but you guys keep it up, okay? Don't let me ruin something that's been so good for all of us. I don't know what I'm going to do, but as soon as I figure it out, I'll let you know, okay? I love you guys, and I'll never forget our summers in Sweethaven. I'll write when I can. Love, Suzanne. She held the page in the air and decided it needed something extra. Using a detail brush, she added pink curlicues and orange flowers to the edges of the page. By the time she was done, she was quite happy with her entry. Happy with everything except what she had to write. Happy with everything except the protruding belly on the girl in the photo. Chapter 1. Campbell. The church smelled like flowers and dead people. Dead person. Just one. Her mom. The visitation the night before had sent her into an unexpected daze. She'd smiled, thanked people for coming, pretended she'd be okay. She stood at the back of the sanctuary, her black skirt clinging to her waist and thighs, and then flaring out slightly. Mom had always liked that skirt. She'd even borrowed it once to go on a date. One of the few Campbell